All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're cracking open a pretty amazing playbook from Germany, one that's literally designed to build the next generation of digital citizens. We're going to see exactly how they're handing kids a full-on toolkit for navigating AI and the web.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you even begin to explain something as complex as AI to a 10-year-old? Well, it turns out Germany has a very structured and honestly a very practical answer. It's way less about abstract theory and way more about real, hands-on, everyday skills. Okay, so what are we actually looking at here? This is a real workbook for students who are about, 10 to 12 years old. And let me tell you, this isn't some dusty old textbook. It's designed from the ground up to be a comprehensive guide, what they call a digital toolkit for making your way in the modern world. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll peek inside what they call the digital school bag. Then we'll get into the essential rules for staying safe online, move on to spotting fakes, see how they teach kids to actually create stuff, and finally, we'll get to the cool part, meeting their new AI study buddy. First up, your digital school bag. And I just love this framing. It treats these digital skills not as some separate, weird subject, but as tools that are just as essential as your pens, your notebooks, your calculator. They're just part of what you need for school and for life now. So what's actually in this thing? Well, it's super hands-on. I mean, it starts with the absolute basics, like how to use gestures on a tablet or how to take a screenshot, but it ramps up fast. And this is not about passive reading. Nope. Every single unit ends with quizzes, group projects, and discussion questions to really make sure the learning sticks. Okay, so we know what's in the school bag. Now let's talk about the first and frankly the most important layer, safety. Because before you can build cool things or use AI, you've got to know the rules of the road, right? This whole section is about laying that foundation for being a smart, safe, and responsible person online. And they do not pull any punches. They get right into the real-world threats. One of the very first things these kids learn is how to spot phishing. The definition is super simple, super direct, and so important. It's just an attempt to steal your data using fake messages. That's it. And the lessons themselves are so practical. It's not just some vague advice like, hey, be safe online. No, students get real, actionable steps, like how to build a strong password with all the right characters, why you need two-factor authentication, what cyberbullying actually is, and even practicing good netiquette. These are real rules for protecting yourself. All right, so layer 1 is personal safety. What's layer 2? Protecting your mind. Once that foundation is set, the curriculum builds right on top of it. Because being safe online isn't just about your passwords, it's about defending yourself from misinformation. This next part is all about turning students into little information detectives. And again, it starts with a really clear, powerful definition. Fake news isn't just a mistake. It's not an error. The workbook teaches that it is intentionally created to mislead you. That focus on intent, that is such a critical distinction for a young person to learn. And this just shows you the genius of the method. It's not about memorizing a list of bad websites. It's about learning to ask the right questions. For an article, they're taught to ask, can I trust this source? Can I find this info somewhere else that I do trust? For a video, they learn to look for deepfakes by asking, does this look real but feel kind of weird? Is someone trying to trick me? And this is where the whole philosophy of this workbook really starts to shine. See, it's not enough to just be a safe, critical consumer of information. The real goal here is to empower these students to become active, thoughtful, and responsible creators themselves. And check this out, the tools they get to use are seriously impressive. We are talking about real-world applications that pros use. GarageBand for making music and podcasts, iMovie for video, Canva and Procreate for design. These aren't little toy programs, these are genuine production skills. But here's the thing, you can't just hand a kid a bunch of powerful tools without teaching them responsibility, right? And the workbook gets that. It smartly pairs all this cool creative software with lessons on things like respecting copyright and how to actually work together on projects using platforms like Microsoft Teams or Google Workspace. All right, and now we get to the really juicy stuff, AI. This is where the curriculum feels so forward-thinking. And just look at the title, your new AI study buddy. Right off the bat, AI is framed not as some scary threat and not as magic, but as a helpful co-pilot for your own learning. So, how do you explain AI to a 10-year-old?
Well, you start with the absolute basics. You start with the main building block, the algorithm. And the workbook defines it in the simplest way possible. It's just a step-by-step set of instructions. No jargon, no complexity. Just a clean, easy idea.
And I have to say, this is my favorite part. It is so clever. To make the whole idea of an algorithm feel real, there's a task where the students have to write down the algorithm for brushing their teeth. Step 1, pick up toothbrush. Step 2, put on toothpaste. It's just a brilliant way to demystify a core computer science concept and make it totally relatable.
Okay, this next part is so important. The curriculum tackles the whole sci-fi movie version of AI head-on. It draws a crystal clear line between what they call weak AI, the kind we actually have today that's good at one specific thing, like chess, and strong AI, the conscious, human-like intelligence that, as the workbook clearly states, does not exist yet. This is all about cutting through the hype and reducing the fear.
So what's in this AI Study Buddies toolkit? Well, it's the big names you'd probably expect. They're introducing students to ChatGPT for help with writing, DeepL for translations, DALL-E for making images, and Perplexity for doing research that actually gives you sources. These are presented as just another powerful set of tools for school.
But listen, this slide right here, this is the whole ballgame. Because they aren't just taught how to use AI, they are taught how to question it. This is a direct quote from a discussion prompt in the workbook. By making the students explain why they need to double-check what an AI tells them, the curriculum makes sure that critical thinking stays the most important skill of all. That's the whole point. So when you pull back and look at the whole thing, it's just, wow. The sheer scope of this thing is astounding. We're talking more than 17 distinct units in just one workbook, taking a kid on a complete journey from the basics of online safety all the way to programming logic and AI ethics. So what we've really seen here is more than just a textbook. It's a blueprint for building a new kind of citizen, one who's not just a consumer of tech, but a critical, responsible, and creative user. Germany is methodically packing this new digital school bag for its next generation, and it really leaves you with a final question, doesn't it? For the rest of us, are our classrooms ready for this?